Hello fellow riders, Trace here with Mountainbike Action Magazine. Today we're doing another first ride series with this Devinci hardtail. We call this the Kobain. One of those hardtails that's priced right and built for fun. First, before we hop on it, let's go ahead and dive into some of the tech talk. The Devinci Kobain frame is an aluminum frame with boost rear spacing, internal seat post routing with external routing for all other goodies on the outside of the frame. There's room for one water bottle with a seat tube angle of 75 degrees and a head tube angle of 65.5 degrees. At the front of this bike, there's a Marzocchi Bomber Z2 with 140 millimeters of travel. For the drivetrain, Devinci spec'd a Shimano SLX 12-speed, along with the cranks, chain, derailleur, and shifter. Sticking with Shimano, they also went with their brakes, the MT410s. They're a single piston brake. We would have liked to seen a 4-piston brake on the front. However, they do still provide plenty of stopping power with the 180 millimeter rotors. The bike sits long and slack with enough tire spacing for a 2.6-inch 29er. With keeping price point in mind, there's two build options of the Kobain. The Kobain that you see in front of you is priced at $1849 with the SLX 12-speed components. There is also the step below for $1399 that has 11-speed Dior components on it. It's also got a little bit different of a fork, as well as a saddle option, and they've changed some of the chainring and brakes on it as well. But that's enough of the tech talk and features. Let's go ahead and see how the Kobain feels out on the trails. So, climbing back up here, give you a little commentary on how it's climbing so far. In comparison, this bike is very much like a similar Canadian brand, Rocky Mountain's Growler, which is another aggressive hardtail. The difference being, this one is slightly less slack for the head tube. So it's actually a little more tame than the Rocky, which makes it a little more manageable on the climbs. Definitely predictable, you know, kind of able to put the front wheel where you want it without it weaving, bobbing in out of the way.
Right, pretty killer ride aboard the Kobain from Devinci here. Had a good time putting this hardtail to use. Now, first thing we will say, it is an aluminum frame,
So it is a little chattery compared to a carbon frame or a tie frame, some other bikes that we may have tested. But with that being said, it's definitely really capable. The larger tire clearance is doing most of the work, keeping it squishy. This Marzocchi Bomber up front is really well performance-wise, actually. You know, price point being that it's an $1,800 bike, we think that this fork is pretty much outperforming everything else. It's got a really killer feel to it. I'm impressed with it. You know, some upgrades, things that we might change. We might put a carbon bar, might put bigger brakes on it in the long run, just to have a little more stopping power, and the bars would help us with a little bit of that rigidity. But you know, the frame still feels really responsive. That 1.5 degrees less head tube angle than you'd find on the Rocky Mountain Growler is actually really noticeable coming uphill. The bike is a little more manageable than the Rocky would be, so I'd say the Kobain wins in terms of climbing. Downhill, they're both very similar. They're both really planted. They hold to the ground well at high speed, and they've got that same hardtail feel when you're coming through the rough stuff. You know, we're definitely looking forward to spending more time on this bike. We're going to be doing more comparisons with it, along with our full review that we'll have in the magazine. So until then, make sure you pick up a magazine, and we're going to spend some more time on this. Take care.